I've noticed, Vinny, is that there's a lot of people out there, a lot of entrepreneurs who have set some really big goals. They've set some big goals. They're driving towards their income. And now
Yeah,
they're at a point in the market where they're starting to realize that the goals may have been bigger than they expected, or things are harder than they expected. How you do anything is how you do everything. Wealth Principle 39. You and I were just chatting about it. We were talking about habits, and we were talking about how this kind of relates to life. You sent me a bunch of notes, which I love.
yeah.
I know you're using Perplexity now. So all of
Thank
these
you, thank
notes,
you.
behavior, personal life, personal development, different areas that they make sense, core meaning, origin, and like how this sentence came to be. And then obviously there's a book called How You Do Anything is How You Do Everything. So
Everything.
what does it mean to you, Vinny, when you see that your energy is low in business, your
Yes.
energy is high in your personal life, and your energy is high in your health life? What is the disconnect sometimes? Like, why is business not always as high as, let's say, family and health? Why does that
Oh,
one seem to like
oh my
not
gosh. Oh
always
my gosh.
fluctuate as
This
good?
is smack right in the middle of today, actually. For the last 4 or 5 days, I've been feeling that the business is not where it should be, and where I expected it to be at the end of second quarter. All those things which maybe some people can relate to, you and I. And stock market is dumping, and elections are coming, and all these big uncertainties are there, and the stock market just jumps up and down on a small missing of Tesla. It just messed up the whole market. And then the chip market, because of China and Taiwan. I mean, everybody's just selling Nvidias and others and all. So that has really shaken up my principles, which I say, don't be greedy, and sell. It's just never, you can expect everything to go right. I think is the thing. And then with the my educational side of the business, I invested a lot of money, and not too much returns. That has been kind of negative in my thinking. But then I look at it, I say, you know what, Vinny, it's past, it's done, it's gone. What are you going to do about it now?
That is that is interesting. I don't think most people go to the wow, it's past. What are you gonna do about it now? Space for weeks. I think it takes weeks to finally get to the space where it's like, okay, like what are you gonna do about it? So this habit itself, and even addressing the market, right? There are challenges in the market. I know a lot of entrepreneurs are having those challenges, but I also see a lot of entrepreneurs who are winning. And I know
Mhm.
you have high standards for yourself, but I see you winning too, and I see you closing deals. I see you taking down great investments. I see you paying back investors. So
Mhm.
you don't like where you're at, and yet you're at a very good place where a lot of people would love to be where you are, and in myself included. Not to go into it too much, but damn, like sometimes I wake up in and I'm like, oh my God, I should be way further ahead. I can't believe my son is 46 days old and I'm gonna go still do this activity that should have been done already by somebody else. And there's that
Yes,
that kind
yes.
of grind, right? So
Mhm.
how you do anything is how you do how you do anything is how you do everything. The
Everything.
principle is an energetic and standard based principle, right? From what I can tell from the conversation we've been having, it really does come down to principles. Like you have standards, you have principles, you have ways of belief, and you hold yourself to a higher standard, right? So that holding yourself to a higher standard, I know that came from difficult times, right? Like came from uh not
Tough.
being good enough, not having enough,
Mhm.
not moving fast enough. Like, how does a person build the habit of raising their standards continuously? Because you did it over years. It didn't just happen. Oh, I have to have $1 billion.
Overnight.
Like,
It does not
right.
happen overnight. I totally agree with you, brother Gualter. The key thing is, it's again, you want to be focused in what's important. The vision has to be there. The vision gets blurred many times, and then you expect certain things in certain parts of diversified portfolios that I have and myself. And I feel like, okay, why is it not behaving like I expected it to? But then you get into the nitty gritty, and then you find out, hey, the market overall, with the interest rates so high, with, the insurance going through the roof, property taxes so high. I mean, and you hear about lots of operators underwater in this market. Fortunately, Vinney Chopra sold majority of things, almost all of them, except for my, Houston property and my Austin property. So that's big. I mean, that's also about, how much is it? Like 125 million, just those two alone. You know.
Vinny, when
But
you say that, it reminds me of I have the same feeling, right? Like I had a big portfolio a few years ago, big to me, right? And now I've sold down. I'm like 1/6 of what my portfolio was,
Mhm.
but most of it's kind of paid off, and it's still appreciating. I kept my highest appreciating assets, and it's very interesting to watch these things still keep going up in value. I'm still selling more of
So
them,
true, so
and
true.
it's created a different space, right? So there's this kind of consistency that I've seen in you. You have a habit of wanting more each year. Even when you met me, you're like, Gualter, I like the 100 millionaires. That's really a great idea. I can get behind
Yes,
that.
yes,
And let's make it a million, right? Like add a zero. Let's go to that next level. That's the mindset of leveling up. And even in your coaching company, I know because your mastermind's not, millions of people in there that you want it to be, right? And so
yes,
you have this standard of like how many people I want to help every year, and you're driving towards putting people to the mastermind. And that's why you and I are now partnering up, is because
yes.
we've
I'm
got
so
to
excited, so
put each
excited
other
about it. I
in the
can't tell you.
spaces.
Yeah,
We're putting each other in the space where we're good at, right? I'm very good in
yeah,
traffic. I'm very good at conversion, and you're very
yeah.
good at building millionaires. So it's like we kind of have this, my core mission is build millionaires. Your core mission is build millionaires. And this traffic has been the challenge in between. And you just spent,
I
I want to say it
think
was
you just
35,000
hit
or
the nail on
50,000.
the
Like,
head. I mean, it's hard to find motivated people who will take your roadmap, your blueprint that has a long track record, in my case of 17 years, going from $1,000 I invested in the company to 1.6 billion portfolio. I mean, literally, that's the truth. I did not take any money from but my family wouldn't allow me to. They said, we became multimillionaire when I retired and so forth. And they said, don't take this money away from us, right? But the key thing is, when you make those decisions and you have the
and this is not your family, Vinny, but if we go back, this is actually Concha, your wife, who said, Vinny, you're not allowed to
yeah,
invest any dollars that we've already
yes,
built or protected. We're
yeah,
not taking any of this money and putting this
yeah,
in the syndication thing because it's a new thing and we don't
yes.
trust it. We trust you, but we also trust you to do it with no money because you said you can. And so you took
No,
$1,000. That was it. You
I
already had the
became a
millions.
broker. I
Yes.
became a
Okay.
broker in 2004, California broker. I just let it go this year because I had to go through some exams for keeping my license. So I kept that license for almost 21 years, no, 20 years. And the key thing was, I just did not want to sell and buy properties. We even invested, had stationaries, everything done, all done, name, logo. Then 15,000 we spent, I think, my wife and I. We just one night said, no, we're not going to do it.
Vinny,
That was
I've carried my
2005.
license for 13 years, and like every year I look at it, I question, am I gonna
Mhm.
renew this in 2 years? I don't know.
Yeah.
I love
But
that.
the key thing was, if I may say that, I borrowed money. My
Yes.
partner and I borrowed money from a good Samaritan, and we went for coaching. I know a lot of times people say, I don't have the money. That's exactly I was at. My
How much
family
did you
did
borrow, Vinny? I know the coach was Dave Lindahl,
150,000. We borrowed
150,000, but that wasn't just for you. That was for two other partners too,
for
right? So
two
it's
other
50,
partners.
50,
Well,
50.
four partners. I
Four
took
partners.
130,000, 120,000, I think we spent in coaching and other things. And guess what? Two of them fizzled out of five, I think. And just after 2 weeks or 2 months. And I said, holy cow, they're not motivated. I mean, they got to just pick up the ball and run. You got to can do and will do factors, right? You could get training, but if you don't have the will do factors, when nobody's looking at you, then nothing is going to help you. Nothing will. You
So
got to learn the business, immerse in it, and then you use it.
so I got to go back. So you borrowed money from
Yes.
another person to
Mhm.
invest in your education, and then you pay and the education of two other partners. So you were the one on the hook for all four of you, right? You were the one who
Yes.
borrowed the money for the whole
Yes.
team. And so you invested basically 60,000 into two people who dropped off within a handful of months.
Mhm.
And but you still had you and your other partner who I think
Yes,
you built a nice empire, and then you
we
actually
did.
also separated eventually as
We
well, correct?
separated 10 years back.
So
10
so
years back,
10
brother.
years ago, there's a separation, but you guys built quite a bit. You ended up paying back the investor who you borrowed the initial
Yeah.
150,000 from?
Yes. Actually, we had at one time 350,000 borrowed because we didn't have money to down payment, right? And we need operating capital. So this very good person, I can't say his name, he just kept on giving us because he believed in us. And, we ended up selling that, no, 14 units for 380,000, which we bought for 180,000 in Odessa, Texas, is the place. And now it's worth 1.8 million. So he's done well because of association with us.
And that investor, did you give him that property? Is that what happened? He gave you all
Well,
that money
actually,
and
we wanted to sell to pull out the cash, invest back in the business, and so forth. So we owned it, right,
yep.
within the company. Then we said, hey, 200,000 is pretty good return in about 3-4 years, So we had short sightedness. But, if I had kept a lot of these, early properties, I wouldn't be where I am today
Right.
because it's the power of starting small, but then you help and get more investors, you give them returns, they tell more people about you. That's the key. 39.9 trillion is in retirement funds as of today, I think, in USA alone.
As of March, I know the other day you
As
said
of
it. I looked
March,
it
okay,
up.
as
I
of
confirmed
March.
it.
Oh,
It's
now it may be down
39.9
with this
trillion
market
dollars.
falling
It might be
down.
down today. It might be
Yeah.
on average. That's what they've tracked. That's what
Right.
the I can't remember what the source was, but that is the standard number for how much wealth is trapped in 401ks and IRAs. So
I
that's something you're
raised.
going to be talking about at the summit this year is the silver tsunami, the baby
Yes.
generation, uh, untapping those 401ks, or at least the concept behind untapping them. I was just thinking, Vinny, I'd love to do like an extra kind of special like real estate talk, but I haven't figured out where I'm going to put it.
Sure.
But
Sure.
I'll make sure it's a day that you're going to be at the summit with us because I'd like
Oh,
to
it,
have maybe a panel with you where we just kind of go deeper into.
I would love that. Love that in the morning when I do my keynote. Then maybe later on that afternoon, another dose can
I
come
like
in.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
that'd
like
be
it. I'll
amazing.
let you know what the schedule is, but that
Sure.
is as we're getting
Yeah.
the summit really getting closer. I'm polling the community and all of the
Yeah.
local events. I was in St. Pete last night, and I'll be in Tampa
Mhm.
again. And I'm polling the attendees and just saying, hey, by the way, what do you want? And mostly what they want, Vinny, is to generate income. They're looking for cash flow. They're looking for capital. What is one of the habits? Because how you do anything is how you do everything. What is one of the habits of great salespeople? And I see you doing it right now, actually. Now that I think about it, I see you exercising. I've seen you exercise every single day. You do yoga every single day. You wake up early. You do your miracle morning. What habit do you think makes you such a great salesperson when you're talking to investors?
The biggest thing is expect to be rejected. A lot of time people just give up and they just say, rationalize, that person is going to say no, and they don't even pick up the phone then. See, the worst thing happens when our mind does and it looks and thinks and everything negative. Guess what? More negative you think, like in my book, Positivity Brings Profitability, more of the same thing is going to come in our life. That's law of attraction, law of manifestation. So we believe or not, we got to get psyched up that, hey, no matter whether I get a yes or a no, it's going to be okay. But I want to give the best presentation. You got to make that phone call and meet with the person at their convenient time. And then you go over a very organized presentation. the worst thing is when people call on the phone and they and ah everything, and they're not confident. But the best is to have a PowerPoint presentation and record so that you could give it to them at the end of presentation. In investors case, in my case, that's what I do. I've done it. And then they show it to their spouse or their a deacon at the church or pastor, or their brother, sister, like that. This way you are able to multiply your presentations by giving videos to these people, and they can ask more questions then.
Vinney,
But
you
if you get
just,
no, don't worry
yeah.
about it. It's okay. It is not the right time for them. It's not a rejection which is personal. It's just a business decision they're making, and maybe they need to be taught a little bit more and educated and all that. Yeah.
You just gave me, I think, one of the most valuable sales tips that I have never heard of ever. Although I've heard you say you give investors the recording of the webinar. I've heard you say that before, but it just crossed my mind because I have a salesperson who's just absolutely amazing in his strategy sessions, and then he sells the mastermind for us. And like,
Mhm.
he occasionally ends up with the objection that, oh, my wife, I have to talk to my wife. And it's like, man, like if he was just passing this video to the person and saying, yeah, cool, like send her this video, like have her watch this.
That
Like that would save an entire extra call, because it's like, hey, by the way, I talked about all the stuff, and like here's your husband's opinion of everything I'm asking. Like here's his concerns that you guys
I
may not have even talked about. And like
I agree, brother.
like,
I agree.
wow,
It's
that's
amazing.
so deep. That's so good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I really believe, why did I think about it was in the early on in my life, I was putting myself in the shoes of
Yes.
investors.
Yes.
If they have to give me 50, I never take 50, 100,000 minimum, 100, 200, 500, 1 million. They cannot just instantly give me that. See,
Right.
you got to give them a great presentation, everything which they would like to ask, and record it and give it just to them so
Give it to
that
their attorney, they can give it to their financial planner, they
totally,
give it to their wife, like they can, and that also is spreading the knowledge around the deal, because you may have an
yeah,
attorney who says, wow, I want to jump into that too.
exactly. And
So
you have to
cool.
have 501. I mean, you have to let them know it's only in your circle if it's
Right.
506B, which
Right.
is family and friends. But C, most of the people are doing 506C now for accredited investors. And
Right.
it's safe investment with accredited investors as compared to sophisticated or non accredited
Safe for
investors.
us, safe for the capital raiser.
Safe for the capital
We can't
raiser.
say safe in relation to
Yeah,
any
nothing
investment.
is safe. Nothing is safe. That's for sure. But
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're getting value from Vinney Chopra, you can go find him on Facebook. He responds back there. He's
yeah,
very active on Instagram. It's how he and I connected in the first place. He's also
yeah,
active on LinkedIn. Go to vinnychopra.com if you want to find out more about what Vinney is up to. If you want to learn about the mastermind, you can go to ibuildmillionaires.com. We'll be hanging out Saturday morning at 10 o'clock for this wealth principle. We'll dive a little deeper into it. I do have
mhm.
to jump off. Vinny's got to jump. He's got to go finish up his exercises and call some of his billionaire friends. So we do this every Thursday. This is Abundance Thursdays. You can log in a little early. It'll be 9 o'clock PST and 12 p.m. EST. Just
Yes,
be watching for us, because we very consistently will record and make sure we're dropping as much value in there as possible for you. Again, the link is ibuildmillionaires.com. And come hang out with us on Saturday. If you want to hang out with Vinney, you got to jump into the mastermind. There's a ton of value in there. Vinney,
yes.
any tips before we jump off for folks who are looking to increase their success by improving one habit in their lives?
The biggest thing is that you got to look at where you are at. And I'm pivoting, I'm changing my thinking. I'm looking at, okay, where is the red ocean? Where is the blue ocean? And you got to be really minimizing the risks in the red ocean and transfer slowly into some very nice sector of the real estate, which you and I have talked about it, assisted living with the silver tsunami, and now residential assisted living. which is even a low hanging fruit with less down payment, and SBA loan, 7A loan is amazing. I just got approved for that one for my first home. I'm applied already for the second one now. And they give you the property value, what you pay for, plus rehab budget, plus operating budget, and 75 or 80% of that. So it comes out really good. SBA, Small Business Administration loans are great.
You heard it here. Vinney Chopra is giving you tips, residential assisted living. We are going to be talking about that at the summit, and we'll continue to talk about that inside the mastermind. This is Abundance Thursdays, 9 a.m. PST and 12 p.m. EST. Cheers to your success. You have a choice. Always work with the best. By the way, there's plenty of room at the top. We'll see you at the summit.
See you next week.
See you next week. Cheers, Vinney.
Cheers, brother. Please give me that link. Yeah.
I'll send you the link right now.
Okay.